All right, so we still have a minute or two before we get started. I'm going to post the playlist one more time if you want to give that a go. You can also choose your own music or have some silence. Make sure my volume's turned up. And I recommend that you have a sweater or long sleeves. You can see I have the pillow from my bed here tonight, and I'm going to use this to sit on at the start of class. If you want to grab a pillow or a blanket, that just allows you to drop your knees below your chest. Give yourself a little height behind you. So it is 8 o'clock. So we're going to get started. As people join us, they're just going to come in and join us right where we are. So tonight's class is a special edition of Stretch into Sleep. This is going to be a relaxing yin style yoga class. We're going to do a lot of static stretching, holding longer stretches, and this helps us release tension in our body so we can begin to relax, begin to cool our body temperature down, and get ready for bed. So if you want to grab a blanket, a sweater, some socks before we get started, as we do this class and you begin to relax, you may notice you begin to get cold, you get chilly. So feel free at any time to come out of your stretch to put on that hoodie, put on those socks, and keep your body nice and warm and cozy. All right, well, let's get started. Stay nice and tall on your prop. I like to cross my legs, but you can sit any way you'd like. We're just going to take a moment to close those eyes and notice where we are in the room. What do you hear around you? And we can do yoga with noise. It's okay if there's noise. Just observe what you hear. And then notice what you feel on your skin. What's the temperature of that air like? Do you feel any movement of air? And then notice where you are connected with the ground. Does it feel like you're sinking into the ground or lifting away? Just notice that. And then moving inside your body, where do you feel your breath? Is it faint, barely there? What's the pace of your breath like? We're just taking this time to move from the outside world into our own internal world. We're going to zip up those lips and begin to breathe through our nose. And over your next few breath cycles, I want you to lengthen that inhale a little bit and extend the exhale to match. And it doesn't have to be really deep right away. You're just gradually extending that breath, bringing more oxygen into your body, allowing those long breaths to tell your brain, hey, it's time to be a little mellow here. It's time to begin to calm down. And on that next exhale, you can drop your chin to your chest, feeling that stretch in the back of the neck. It's been a long day. You might be feeling it in the neck. We like to hold tension there. And then gradually begin to roll that neck in a circle, nice and slow. Maybe inhaling for the first half, exhaling for the second half. And if you hear any snap, crackle, pops, that's a normal noise. sounds louder because it's by our ears. And if any place feels kind of stiff after the day, maybe you want to hang out there. Maybe let those elbows get heavy, dragging those shoulders down. And then you can continue on your roll. The next time your chin is at your chest, you can pause. And then slowly rotate the other way. Just checking in with that neck. We're just starting to release from the day. And if you've been hunched over a computer or your phone, watching TV, then rolling that neck to the side and back may feel a little stiff, a little sore. So just smoothly move through that. Next time your chin's at your chest, you can pause. Then we're going to bring our head back up to center. Take a moment sitting nice and tall, nice straight spine. And then I want you to bring belly button to spine. Begin to lean back, hands on the knees, and you're making a little C. And from here, you should feel the back of your shoulders, your back just round and stretch. Your chin tucks towards your chest. And then come on up to straight. Slide your hands down your legs. Bring your torso forward, chest proud, and gaze comes up. So you're hollowing the back the other way. And then switch directions, come back to the C. So what we're doing here is we're just moving the spine forward, coming up straight, and then back bending a little bit. Again, the opposite of how you sit at a computer, how you watch TV, maybe those elbows slide behind. Let's just try that one more time. Making that really nice C. And then your arms slide back, your chest comes proud and forward as you hollow that back. And coming back up to center. Just taking a moment here to feel that spine, that little movement did. And then we're going to wrap our right arm around our belly, our left arm around the back, nice and tall. Inhale nice and tall and begin to twist over to your left side. Doesn't have to be far, we're just wringing out the day. Maybe you want to place your right hand on your left knee across your body. Your left hand can come behind back as you sit nice and tall. Maybe you gaze over your shoulder. And we're starting this class with a little bit more movement. So when we come into our stretching practice at night, we've been moving all day, we're a little antsy sometimes. Come back to center. Let's wrap the left arm in the front, right arm in the back. Sit nice and tall. Let's begin to twist toward the right. Then once you've twisted on your own, you can bring that left arm across the body, right hand behind you. Maybe look over the shoulder. I love starting my practices with just moving the spine in all its directions, kind of checking in with my body how it feels. And then as we move into the longer holds a bit later, we kind of bringing out the energy of the day. Just like a washcloth. Let's come back to center. I'm going to stay up on my height as I bring the soles of my feet together, knees out wide into a little butterfly. You get to choose if you want them close in to stretch your groin or you want them further out for your hamstring. And just take a moment to sit tall. In these longer stretches, we're not going to force ourselves down. We're going to gently fold down and then let gravity and time be our workout fronts. So inhale that spine nice and long. And as you exhale, begin to hinge at the hips forward. And it may not be very far. Only go as far as your body feels good in the stretch. And then once you hinge the hips and you're like, I can't go anymore, this is good, then you can drop your chin to your chest. Find a nice place to rest your hands, maybe on the shin or your feet. Maybe you want to close your eyes. Now, this is our first longer stretch in this butterfly. And so what I want you to ask yourself right now is, am I in my Goldilocks spot? If there's any sharp shooting pain, anything that feels red or stabbing pain, then I want you to come out, come up a little higher. Because our goal is to feel the sensation of the stretch. And sometimes stretching sensation is uncomfortable. You don't necessarily want to stay there for a while, but it's not painful. So that is my learning objective for you today, is to find your place of joyful discomfort. Where do you feel that oh so good stretch? That stretch might be uncomfortable, but it's not painful. Sometimes the hardest part of the yin pose is staying in stillness. And as we move through the class tonight, we're going to learn a few ways that may help us stay in stillness. And our first one in our butterfly pose is just learning to find the place of joyful discomfort. Slowly, you're going to begin to feel your hands get heavy. And you're going to walk those hands up your legs as you come up to a nice tall seat. Bring your hands behind you or to your sides, and we're going to windshield wiper the legs nice and slow, side to side. Just release that stretch for a minute. Now doing yin on the computer can be a little bit different with the silences. Sometimes people get worried their internet is down or my internet is down. There will be a few more times of silence in this class today. And I just encourage you to stay in your stretch when it's quiet. Okay, let's find our half butterfly. So the right leg is going to come in towards you. The left leg is going to come out in front or to the side. Remember, you can have that height behind you that can help you hinge. You're going to sit nice and tall. You're going to twist your body so you're facing your left leg. Keeping that spine nice and long, we're going to begin to walk down over our leg. Again, hinging only as far as you feel that stretch in the back of the leg. And maybe you want to micro bend that knee. Especially if you feel any tension or pulling at the knee, I want you to bend the knee. Maybe even put a little blanket or support under the knee. And then you can fold over your leg. Resting the arms where they're comfortable. Finding your place of joyful discomfort. Using as many blankets and pillows as you may want to find those places of comfort. Now, when you're in this pose, if your body begins to feel that it wants to move, I want you to take a moment and think, is this my body that needs me to move? Is this sharp shooting pain? That would be a reason to move. Or is this my mind wanting me to move? Which might be a thought like, why is she keeping us here so long? Or, oh my gosh, this doesn't feel super great. It's kind of achy. And it's okay to have those thoughts in these longer stretches. Observe that thought. See if you need to move or you want to move. And if it's a need to move, you adjust. If it's a want to move, maybe you say to yourself, I'm okay. I'm stretching. I'm releasing my day. I want to be here. And then slowly you're going to feel those arms get heavy, hands get heavy. We're going to walk those hands back toward us as we come on up, moving nice and slow in this practice. We're going to switch legs. The right leg comes out, left leg comes in. You're going to sit up nice and tall. And then with your exhale, fold over your leg. Nice long spine. And it doesn't have to be far at all. Just until you feel that stretch. Maybe micro bending the knee or putting that blanket underneath the knee to give you a little support with the bend. And then relax your neck and head. Yin yoga is a practice of sensation. It lets us notice, where are we tight? And can we loosen up that tightness? And one way we can help our muscles, encourage them to relax, is by focusing on the breath. So it's keeping those lips closed, maybe taking a nice long inhale through the nose, and exhaling through the nose. And perhaps saying to yourself, I inhale, I exhale. And that can give your mind a place to focus on when it wants to move, when it feels like it wants to itch or fidget. By focusing on the breath, sometimes it takes those urges away. Observing that breath move through your body. And then we're going to walk those hands back up, having our spine come nice and tall. We're going to bring those knees back up, feet flat, reach behind. And we're just going to rotate the knees again. Trying to make the movement from the hips, moving nice and slow. Maybe noticing how this windshield wiper might feel a little different than the first one. Then we have one more forward bend. We're going to come into a straddle. And this is where there's no competition here in what this looks like. I just want you to open your legs till you feel that joyful discomfort stretch in the thighs. You can also micro bend those knees. Put some blankets under those knees. That feels good. And then you're going to sit up nice and tall. And then as you exhale, begin to lean forward. And again, we're not in the Olympics. We're here to have our body release tension. I want everybody to be able to walk tomorrow. So only goes forward as you feel a nice stretch. And then close those eyes and focus on that deep inhale. Long exhale. As you practice staying in stillness. The hardest part of these yin poses sometimes is the stillness itself. And also when you're first learning, if this is your first yin class, sometimes it's learning the props. It's learning, how many pillows do I want under my butt to help me fold forward? Do I want blankets under my knees or not? So all those things take time. The nice thing, this class will be up on our YouTube channel. It'll be on replay. So each time you do these poses, you can play around with the blankets, with the pillows, and just see what you need that day to support the stretch. Keep following that breath, that deep inhale, long exhale. And perhaps you notice that as we stay in these stretches, you release a little bit more toward the ground. And that's gravity and time being your workout friend. So you don't have to force yourself down. They're just going to let you ease gently into the stretch. And remember, if it starts to feel too much and that too much is in your body, you can always come up a little bit. If the too much is in your mind, then return your focus to your breath. Feeling that deep inhale, long exhale. And then we're going to walk our hands back nice and slow toward ourselves. Bring our knees in. And we're slowly going to move to tabletop. So moving your pillow out of the way. Spreading those fingers, having wrists under shoulders, knees under thighs. And we're just going to take a moment to run through some slow cat and cow. So dropping your belly down, raising your sit bones, bringing your chest through, gaze up. Finding that cow, really feeling the hollow in your back. And then moving slowly. We're starting to relax here. We want to begin to arch like a cat. Opposite direction with the back. Bring up that spine, relax the head and neck. And then move into your own breath. Seeing if you can move one vertebrae at a time. And yes, that's an idyllic challenge. Your back might be clunking in 3 spots, but there are lots of vertebrae back there. So I want you to see if you can move that back slowly. Maybe picture your vertebrae as dominoes. One moving, one. As you wave that spine. We carry a lot of our day, a lot of our tension in our neck, in our shoulders, in our spine. This just gives us a slow way of moving it out. And then coming back to tabletop, I want you to move out your left leg just a little bit wider so you have more support. Your left arm is going to come in the middle. And then you're going to reach up high with that right arm. And then we're going to come down and slide that right arm underneath our body. We're threading a needle here as that arm reaches through under our body. We're going to come down to the mat with our head. Maybe you want to leave this left arm here. Maybe you want to walk it long. And we're finding a twist. So you may want to help your body reach that arm out longer. You might want to help push the top head into the ground to really stretch that spine. And then return to your breath. Inhaling deep. Exhaling long. And this one might feel a little silly with your butt up in the air. I love this pose now, but when I started yoga, I'm like, I feel ridiculous. That's how you feel. Just embrace that feeling. Experiment with these moves as we twist out the spine, ring out our day. And then we're going to bring that top hand closer to the head. Press into the ground as we come on up. Release that arm, bringing it all the way back up, reaching high. And then we're going to bring that hand down. We're going to move the right leg out. right hand in the middle, just gives ourselves a little bit more of a balanced platform. Is you're gonna reach up nice and high, and then get ready to thread the needle. So that arm comes down, it comes under the body. We're gonna slide it over, slowly lowering yourself down. And then maybe you wanna walk the top hand out nice and long. And maybe adjusting your pose so that you can feel that twist. And then finding your nice breath. Inhaling deep. Exhaling long. I'm really enjoying that twist. And you get to choose when to come out. So although I'm guiding this practice, remember if it goes into that pain area, you're going to start to come out. We're going to move the top hand back toward our head, press into the ground. Come on up, we're going to reach high in that tabletop. And then bring that hand back down. Finding that tabletop again. And then find your cow. Bring those sit bones up, belly down. And keep your hips where they are, and you're going to begin to walk those hands forward. Just as far as you can go where those hips can stay. And then begin to lower your chest down to the ground. And your chest likely is not going to touch. Maybe your arms touch, your forearms touch. Maybe you can get the forehead down. And you can always grab that pillow too and use that as a resting place for your forehead. When you want to relax into these stretches, it can be really nice to use things like pillows and blankets to give yourself the support that you need to relax into the stretch. If you're fighting a lot to stay up, then that can create tension, and we're trying to release that tension. We're not going to stay in this one quite as long. This one is a little bit harder to stay in. So we're going to slowly start moving forward onto our belly. So if you have a prop, you can move it out of the way. We're going to come onto the belly. Stack the palms on top of each other. Elbows come out to the sides of the mat. And you're going to plant your forehead on top of those palms. Walking your feet to the corner of the mat. And just take a moment here to observe how you feel so far. What changes have you noticed in your breath, in your back, in your shoulders, in your hips, since we started this practice today? So right now with the head on the palms, this is a mild back bend. You're welcome to stay here. If you'd like to increase the back bend, you can push into those hands to lift your chest and then bring the elbows underneath the shoulders, forearms in front, palms spread. We're going to find Sphinx. Now, Sphinx is something we do actively quite a lot, where we push into the ground and we lift away in our active classes. But today we're doing more of a passive stretch, so you can allow yourself to sink into the mat here. So maybe the shoulders actually start to go closer to the ears as you sink down. As you exhale, can you feel your tops of your legs get heavier into the mat? Can you feel your hips and belly sink into the mat? Maybe you want to close those eyes. And if you're really feeling this pose in your arms, maybe double check that your elbows are under your shoulders. Because if they're further ahead or further back, it uses a lot of muscle to keep you up. But if you can find that sweet spot of elbows under shoulders, it's a bone stack. And that just allows you to stay up with a lot less effort and lets you relax into this back stretch. Now we have many different bodies here, so you're welcome to stay in Sphinx. You're welcome to return to forehead to palms at any time. If you are still looking for that place of joyful discomfort, you can push your elbows into the ground, bring your arms on about 45 degrees, so your thumbs are facing forward, and then begin to push into your hands as you come up higher into seal. And if this at any time does not feel good, go back to Sphinx, go back to hands on forehead. Depending on your body, if you have more space, you can begin to walk those hands back in maybe. And finding a more of a stacked version of seal. Now I'm trusting all of you in your screens, all 16 screens of you, to choose the right option for your body. Because we're stretching here with the goal of releasing tension from our body, of letting our day go. This practice is more about getting our body geared up to sleep well. And over time, this may affect your passive flexibility, but if you really want to increase that flexibility, then coming to the more active style classes is a good place to be. So if you're in seal, you're slowly going to come back down to Sphinx. Take a moment to settle in. We've been here for quite a while in this back bend. And then from Sphinx, everyone's going to slowly come down. We're all going to meet in forehead on palms. Taking a moment to settle there. And then we're all going to slowly reach those hands back towards our feet and melt the right cheek to the ground, closing those eyes and letting our spine come to a nice straight position. And just observing how that back bend, that extended back bend, affected you today. Just checking in with your body. And then we can inhale, raise the head. We're going to rotate the neck and melt the left cheek to the ground. And then we're going to reach behind ourselves with the left hand. And we're going to make a cactus arm behind us. The right hand is going to come by the chest. And you're going to roll over onto your side to be able to stretch that shoulder. And maybe you're going to take the top leg, bend the knee and place it behind you, if that feels okay. You can also have them stacked on top of each other. And then this right hand has the option to stay there or wrap behind your back. So again, many options, many bodies. We're stretching our shoulder and our chest here. And just returning to that breath. Inhaling deep. Exhaling long. And this one we don't stay in as long, so you can bring that hand back to the front. Slowly unwind to your stomach. And then we're going to melt the right cheek to the mat. Getting ready to do that on the other side. So your right arm reaches behind you in that cactus position. Left hand comes by your chest as you roll over onto your side. That feels good.
Maybe you want to take that top leg, bend the knee, and rest it on the ground. Or you can keep those legs on top of each other, yogi's choice. This front head can stay, or it can wrap behind the back. And this stretch can really vary depending on what you do for the day. If you spend a lot of time typing, driving, this one can be really quite intense. So you can always take it down a notch by resting those legs on top of each other and coming out of that more extreme bend. Because these poses are about making your body feel better, about releasing the tension, stretching them out, letting go of that stiffness and tension, so that when we go to bed, we're feeling just a little bit more open and free. And then we can begin to slowly unwind, coming back to our belly. We're going to reach the right arm forward as we roll over onto our backs, lining up. And this is where we're going to find that pillow that we may have by us. And just bring it right by your side. We're going to bend those knees, have the feet close by our sit bones. And we have a few options here. So if you have this pillow here, we're going to have it right beside your hips. You can press into your feet to raise up your butt just a little bit and slide this pillow underneath, and then bring your sit bones back on the pillow. If you don't have a pillow, you're going to stay in the same position but without the raised elevation. And then we're going to open those shoulders again to cactus, forward facing this way. Close those eyes. And if you're on the pillow, you may want to extend your legs long. Just maybe experiment with how that feels. If you don't have the pillow, you may want to experiment with walking the feet wide and letting the knees drop together. And some of these yin poses they might seem a little simple to your body, and that's different poses for different people. And the power in yin is staying in the pose for at least 30 seconds. And as you practice these poses more, the stretching before bedtime more, you might find some poses you can stay there for a minute or even 2 minutes. But that's something you want to build up to, because our primary goal is how can we move our body so that we can release the stiffness, release the tension. And that's an exploring type of movement practice. And that takes some time. So just be curious with how you feel in this moment. And perhaps returning to that breath. Sometimes I like to count the beats of my breath. I inhale, 2, 3, 4. I exhale, 2, 3, 4. I inhale, 2, 3, 4. I exhale, 2, 3, 4. And just finding the pace of the breath that works for you. If your legs are out long, you're going to bring them back in, planting the feet on the floor. And just take your time feeling those feet reattach to the ground. And then you can push into the feet to lift your sit bones up and slide that pillow out of the way. Lowering your back into the mat. Just taking a moment to notice how that low back area feels after it was raised up a little bit. If your feet were out wide and your knees dropped together, just bring those feet back to center. And again, check in with that low back. How did that affect you? And then slowly we're going to bring the right knee into the chest, wrapping the arms around the shin. That left leg can stay planted on the ground, or maybe you want to extend that leg long. Again, both options are great. You choose the one which allows you to stretch in that joyful discomfort place. That beautiful place where we know we're stretching for the good of our body. We feel the stretch, but we're in our safe Goldilocks zone. Our body knows this is a good place to stretch. And maybe notice as you breathe through your nose, do you feel your belly growing? Does maybe your belly and your thigh meet with a nice deep breath? And then you can bring that left hand onto your hip as a reminder to keep it down. And then just let that right hip open so that leg comes out to the side. Your arm can help support it there. Maybe you want to bring your pillow back under your leg. Just maybe here for a minute, opening up the hip. Again, this is a nice one to sometimes experiment with. Do I want to put blankets and pillows under my leg to help? Can I move my arm around so that my elbow can prop and just hold my leg, giving it some support? Feeling free to play around with that. Giving yourself the freedom to find the position that works for you. And then we're slowly going to bring that leg back to center. Bring the left leg in so the foot is planted on the floor, so that we can put our right ankle on top of our left knee into a figure four. Checking in with your knee here. If you feel your right knee, if this is really hard, I want you to slide your leg over so it's more of your calf on your leg. If you're not feeling much in this figure four, then maybe you want to lift your left foot off the mat to bring your legs closer to you. And then wrap your hands around your left thigh as you melt back down. So taking the time to see if a figure four works for you, if this reverse pigeon works. And then once you find it, I want you to focus your attention on your feet for a moment. Are they pointed? Are they flexed? Just observe. And then I want you to just let them be. See if you can take all of the effort out of your feet. And that top leg, that calf leg, just let that be too. Just let it hang. See if you can do less work in this pose and still stretch. Perhaps checking in with the jaw. And if it's tight, if you notice tension there, maybe you want to move it a little bit side to side. Feeling that breath move through your body. If you're holding onto that leg, we're slowly going to let it go as it comes down to the mat. We're going to uncross the leg. And just reach them both long down your mat. Take a moment here on your back to just check into the right side of your body, the left side. Just notice if they feel different since you've stretched one side out but not the other. Just be curious about that. What is this stretch doing to your body? And then now we're going to plant both feet on the mat and bring the left knee into the chest, wrapping the hands around the shin. Taking time to settle in here, maybe closing the eyes. Maybe reaching that right leg down the mat. And this is a time in class where sometimes you may begin to feel a little cool. So having those sweaters or socks or blankets nearby. I've done this whole sequence under a blanket at the end of class. Helps keep the heat in. But a cool body also means you're getting ready to sleep. Your body is getting ready to go to bed. That's why if we have a hot bath before we go to bed, it just helps your body temperature drop. It's sending that signal once you get out of the warm bath that your temperature's dropping. It's time to go to sleep now. And that's what we're trying to do here. Let's bring the right hand to the right hip as a reminder to keep it down. And then slowly open that right hip to the side, letting that knee drop out. Maybe you want to put your pillow there, your blanket for support. Move your elbow around so your hand can support your leg. You get to explore here. How can I stretch? How can I open up here and still feel like I'm doing a little bit less work? Gravity is just going to help us over time increase this stretch. You just get to lie here and focus on our breath, which some days is easy and some days it's incredibly hard. So however you're finding this practice today, be proud of yourself for being here, for moving your body, for releasing tension or learning to release tension, which sometimes feels like it creates tension when you start. That is totally okay too. And then we're going to bring that leg back to center. We're going to bend the right knee, plant the right foot on the floor, and then bring that left ankle on top of the knee, finding your figure four. Again, taking time here to find that placement of the leg so that your knee doesn't hurt. Really reaching that left leg away from your body. And if you're feeling this in your glute and your hip, then you're going to stay here. Follow your breath. Or maybe you want to pick up the right foot, bringing those legs in closer to your body, wrapping the hands around the leg and settling back down. And just taking time to explore the option that works for you. Sometimes what worked on one side doesn't work on the other side. And over time, we hope to even everything out with a regular practice. But for a year, I practiced this pose differently on both sides of my body because of a leg injury I had, or a recovering injury. You couldn't tell from the outside I was hurting. So listen to your body, adjust the stretch so that it works for you. We're not making a shape, we're discovering a sensation. That will help us release tension. It will help us stretch out those muscles. Thinking about those feet, just noticing them and then letting them go. No flexing, no pointing. Just see if you can let them be. And feel that breath. That loads of oxygen coming into your body, into your lungs. Feel an exhale, that release of all the air. And then we're slowly going to release that leg, setting down the foot. We're going to uncross the legs. And again, reach both legs long so that you can see how now that you've stretched both sides, how does that feel? Does your body feel more even now that both sides have gotten attention? And then slowly you can bring both those legs into your body again. Bending those knees, bringing the legs together. And you can open those arms like a T. I'm going to open mine to a cactus because I don't have room for a T. Depending on your space, you can choose how you want those arms. And then we're slowly going to let the knees come over to the right side. We're going to relax, twist. So those knees can fall apart. Shoulder can float. And then maybe you want to look over to your left side, also stretching that neck. So we're twisting here on our back. And if you think way back to the twist we did at the start of class when we were sitting, is there a difference in how you feel this in your body now? It is a slightly different twist, but we're still wringing out that spine, wringing out our day. How does your body feel different? How does your breath feel different as we come into the end of class? Just being curious. Just noticing how each exhale might let you sink a little bit more into the mat. Enjoying this twist. Maybe checking in with those fingers, those hands. And just see if there's any clenching there. And if there is, can you release that effort in the fingers and the hands? Because in this twist, they don't actually need to do anything. So maybe just wiggle those fingers and let them just be. And then we'll bring our gaze back to center, legs to center. Then slowly let them twist the other way. Remembering they can separate. Maybe that shoulder floats. Perhaps you want to bring the gaze over the other side. And just, again, notice how this twist has evolved throughout the class. From our seated twist, our tabletop twist. Now we're in this recline twist. Has there been change as we moved throughout this class? In each class, each practice is different. You do the same class on a different day, it may feel completely different. And that is okay. Maybe checking in again with that nice deep breath through the nose. And then we're slowly going to move the gaze back to center, legs back to center. We're going to get ready for final rest. If you have this pillow from your bed, as you stretch out the legs, maybe you want to place that pillow under the knees as you lay down, and that can let the feet float up a little bit. That can feel really nice, having something under the knees. It can also help the low back settle down. So stretching out those legs on the mat, heels to the corners. Reach those arms long down toward the feet. Just bring them out a little bit from your torso. Maybe bring those shoulder blades together, opening your chest. And maybe you want to tuck the chin into the chest, reach your head back, and then set that head down. Just trying to make the spine a little bit longer. Now, as we're here in our final pose, we're going to give you the option where if you're feeling like you still have a fair amount of tension in your body, or you're curious about the difference between tension and relaxation, I want you to begin to clench all your muscles, begin to make fists, point your toes, really engage all of your muscles, almost like you're floating off the floor. Everything's really tense. And then with an exhale, just open up the hands, release the feet, release all that muscle work, and notice yourself melt back in the ground. Maybe you want to try that one more time. Inhale and begin to make this. Point your toes, clench your muscles, make everything really work. Clench everything. And then exhale, release. And just notice the difference. I love that because it can really help me sometimes notice if I was tense by extremely tensing and then letting go. Another way to let go of tension sometimes is to take that deep inhale through the nose. Hold at the top, feel that breath, feel that air in the lungs, and then exhale through the mouth really slow, just like a leaky tire. Maybe you hear that breath. And then try that one more time, inhaling deep through the nose. Hold that breath, feel the air, and then exhale slowly through the mouth. Releasing all that work. We're just going to take a moment here to feel our practice. Notice how it affected our body. We did some shoulder release, lots of spine release. Some release in the butt and the hips. So just checking in with those areas and observing how they feel today. After this last hour class. Now you're welcome to stay here for as long as you want. It's nighttime, you can stay here, you can fall asleep here. If you want to grab that throw blanket off to the side and bring it over top of your body, you are very welcome to do that. I am going to guide people into a seated position, but this is optional. You can stay on your back and enjoy this space as long as you want. So if you are in a space where you are needing to sit up soon, we're going to begin to wiggle those fingers, nice and slow. Wiggle those toes. Perhaps move the neck from one side to the other. Reach those arms up overhead, stretching fingertips to toes. Great big stretch. Release it out. Planting one foot on the ground and then the other. You can slowly let yourself roll over onto your side body. And we're just going to stay here for a moment using an arm as a pillow. And I just want you to take this moment and think of one thing today that you are grateful for. And then you can press the top hand into the ground and slowly come up to a nice comfy seat. Keeping those eyes closed and sitting nice and tall, maybe rolling those shoulders back. And just take one last moment to check in with your body. Check in with the space between your thoughts. And just observe the changes this last hour created. And you can bring those hands to heart center, tuck the chin to chest, and we'll end with a deep inhale all together. And exhale through the mouth, nice and long, letting our practice go. Thank you for joining me for tonight's Stretch into Sleep. I hope you all have a beautiful sleep and that you let us know in Wellness how it went. There's a few more sleep tips I know up on the website or up on the social media channels. Feel free to make a comment on any of those posts, how you enjoyed today's class. And if you have any questions for us about sleep, about stretching into sleep, about getting a better sleep, we would love to help you with all those wonderful things. Have a lovely night and sweet dreams.